Can you really ever win if there was never a risk for loss? Everyone likes to talk about winning, about growth, about achievement, about freedom. But here's the truth of it. You can't really win if there's no real, clear, and present danger of loss that you're facing. So many try to beat the game while staying safe, without really risking anything, chasing abundance without any exposure, and trying to build a bold life, but cushioning every single move. Putting as much effort into backup plans and scapegoats as the primary objective and pursuit. And I get it. How scary would it be to go all in on that one thing and not have any excuse, have no backup plan, have no escape hatch? What if everything goes wrong? What if it doesn't work? That's one of the biggest fears buried deep in the psyche of all human experience. And I'll tell you what, it's the very thing that's holding you back from going all in and holding you back from getting the results that you want to see in your life. And until you face that reality and risk that kind of humiliation and go all in, you cannot win. What's crazy is I wouldn't have even seen this without the lessons that I gained through parenting. As a parent, I wanted it all for my kids. Rather, I wanted to empower them to know that anything was possible. I knew they had passions and a calling in their heart. And I only wanted to show them that if they pursued those passions with wild abandon and not let the world discourage them or dissuade them or convince them they couldn't, they shouldn't, that they could achieve not only those dreams, but more than they could even imagine. So in a short-sighted and selfishly motivated effort to keep my kids focused in on their dreams, I thought it would be helpful to hover over them and maybe intervene from time to time so that they didn't feel the pains that the world would likely inflict upon them. I thought if they didn't feel those pains of defeat at such a young age, it might keep them going just a little while longer before the harsh realities of life set in and potentially beat those dreams right out of them. What I didn't realize in the moment is that gave my kids absolutely zero to lose. They had no skin in the game. They had no chips on the table. So while we did a great job of cushioning every one of their potential falls in those early years, and even more than that, honestly, we helped them rack up significant wins. But for some reason, it all felt hollow. It was meaningless to them. And the wins, they didn't give them the confidence that they should have, that we thought they would have. At first, I couldn't figure it out. My wife and I would sit around discussing our experience as teens and what it was like then. We tried to understand how our crazy behavior and the things that we did without the phones or the GPS or any plans for anything empowered us. It gave us confidence. It gave us self-reliance and determination and drive. But some of those similar experiences that our kids had at the same ages gave them disinterest, apathy, sometimes even anxiety. And we wondered why our kids weren't building those same character-building traits and attributes that we did at the same age. What I ultimately ended up realizing is that even by stripping 10% of the pain of a particular experience, I was robbing my kids of a couple of things. First, the opportunity for them to learn through their own experiences. You know, that critical feedback loop that life just gives us. Touch the stove, burn your hand. The second was minimizing and even nullifying some of their actual wins with some messed up subconscious programming. If mom and dad were going to shoulder some of the burden and some of the risk, then it's probably mom and dad that are responsible for the wins. Now, I don't know. I highly doubt that they actually formed that kind of an idea in their own brain consciously. But it became totally obvious that without the clear and present danger of loss, you know, like the kind that they're not going to get bailed out by mom and dad from, they would never taste the thrill of the actual win. In our very effort to keep their minds open and to encourage them to dream a bigger dream than the world might say they're allowed to dream, I actually undermined their ability to rack up their own wins. And I would say even stunted their growth toward becoming fully functioning, self-actualized, self-confident human beings. And I've learned this. The thrill isn't just in winning. It's in knowing how freaking close you came to screwing it all up. But you figured it out and you made it through anyway. Because every time you do that, you walk away with more than a win. You walk away with proof, evidence that you can handle it. That builds confidence. And that is what stacks. I shared this thought of loss versus wins with my mother the other day when I was chatting with her, and she replied with an interesting comment. She said, well, like your dad would always say, don't throw out the mattress. I was like, wait, what? What was that? She explained that he had a theory that if the kids were going to be so foolish as to jump out of a second-story window, don't throw out a mattress to cushion their fall. I guess she didn't throw out the mattress for me either, and I needed my own first-hand experience of screwing up some of my parenting in order to learn that lesson in the same exact way that my kids needed to learn it for themselves. So push ahead. Don't worry about trying to cushion your fall or create a backup plan. Screw the backup plans. Go all in. Prepare, work, persevere, and win.